Hey, ladies, I got Paul back with me today, and today what I want to pick his brain about is how much cardio do you need to do in order to lose body fat, especially if that's a goal of yours for summer. So, on today's episode, we're going to find out, do you even need to do cardio? Is that the best way to lose body fat? And how can we make it easy and effortless for you to get summer body ready without causing it more stress in your day or more time? So, Paul, welcome to today's episode on YouTube.
Hello, it's great to be here.
All right, first I also wanted to say, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. I think you're really going to like the food, fitness, and fun that we bring you. If you are new, be sure to hit that button and subscribe to the channel. If you're back, hey, welcome back. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and comment below if you like having Paul on the channel and his knowledge drops so I can bring him on more often. So, Paul, you were on a couple weeks ago, and we talked about strength training and a way to design the program to make results easier and more intentional, right, to get into that lean athletic body that we know a lot of our women are looking for. I feel like a lot of women that come into our program, they come with a cardio background, right? Maybe they're doing a lot of HIIT training, maybe they're running, they do a lot of, longer bouts of cardio, and they have this idea that maybe they need to do more to get into that, lean athletic body that they want to lose body fat. So just kind of dive right in. Like, what's your take? Dive right. What's your take on cardio for fat loss? Is it the best way to lose body fat?
No, I mean, when it comes to fat loss, so first of all, if you're watching this channel, you're probably somewhere in the same boat as us. You probably have a pretty rocking career. You've got kids. You've got shit going on. And so you don't want to be wasting your efforts. You don't want to be spending time at something, putting a bunch of effort and thought and emotional effort into it. Because let's be honest, if a workout's really hard, it takes you a little bit of you got to pump yourself up to do it. You don't want to be doing that if it's not getting you the result that you want. And so when it comes to fat loss, it's dude, we want to use the best tool for the job.
Right.
Okay? So realistically, when it comes to getting the body that you want, if you want to look athletic, you want to look toned, it's going to come down to two things. It's going to come down to losing fat, and once you lose that fat, have some muscle to display underneath it, right? And so the muscle to be displayed underneath it, we talked about that last time. That's going to come from strength training. That's what's going to get you to look athletic. That's what's going to get you muscle in all the right places. So the fat loss is the next piece of the equation, maybe the first piece of the equation. That's really going to come from diet.
Right.
That's really going to come from a nutritional intervention. That's the best use of your time. Trying to use workouts to burn fat is a losing proposition. You know what I mean? You can work your ass off. The hardest workout you can probably do is going to burn you 500-600 calories in an hour. An hour of going balls to the wall full speed. You're going to drink that or eat that back with a couple glasses of wine or a couple cookies, right? That's a losing proposition. So what I'd rather do is take that effort and apply it towards my nutrition plan. Just make sure that I've got food on hand. I know what my calorie budget is. I'm planning on meals out ahead of time so I can be cognizant of that, and then just save myself all that effort, basically, and time, really, from cardio. So nutrition gets you the fat loss results. Strength training gets you the muscle results, right? Gets you to look athletic. So where does cardio fit in?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like you also have to ask the question is, how much time do I have? And when I do cardio, and I'm going to say this because this was where I was before, what are my behaviors associated after I do the cardio? Because for me, I would spend an hour and a half on an elliptical, right? I'd watch 3 episodes of Rachel Ray back in the day, her 30-minute meals, and I'd be like, okay, I knew she was on from 4 to 5, and then I could catch another half an hour. So I'd leave my corporate job, I'd go straight to the gym, I'd do the elliptical, and that's a lot of time to be spending on one thing. But I would become so hungry. And because I wasn't mindful of nutrition, I didn't know that much about it back then. I'd be putting all that effort in and time to do the cardio, and then I'd be eating my face off because I was so hungry from it. And so you also have to know why you want to do it. And if you do it because you enjoy it, understand how it fits into big picture, but also understand your behaviors outside of it, right? Okay, so let's say someone does enjoy doing it, right? They know that the result will come from the nutrition, right? And understanding how much you're consuming versus how much you're burning to lose body fat, plus the strength training for the athletic physique. So where does cardio fit in, and what types of cardio would you suggest if someone would want to do it in a fat loss phase?
Yes, great question. So where does it fit in? Okay, not necessary for fat loss, like you don't have to do it at all. To me, it fits in mostly with health benefits.
Right.
So we're big components of really just doing most of it in what's called zone 2, which is sort of the lower aerobic zone. We use a formula 180 minus your age, just kind of standard rule of thumb. So 40 years old, 180 minus 40. I want to keep my heart rate at about 140. Or sorry, 180, minus 40.
Yeah.
I want to keep my heart rate at about 140 beats per minute. The reason I want to do that is because it's literally getting my heart more efficient. It's helping me build more blood vessels to transport blood around my body. It's transporting nutrients. It's removing waste byproduct from my muscles. And just in general, it's making me healthier and giving me more energy, better blood flow. And it's doing all of that without taxing me very hard. It doesn't take much to get started. I can listen to an audiobook. I can listen to nothing at all. I could go for a nice, enjoyable run outside. I'm not pushing that hard. It's really just a light sweat. You get some endorphins going, but you're not taxing your body.
Yeah.
Right? Which is kind of like you're not getting to the point where you're starving because of it. Right? So that is just a good spot to be in terms of general health for sure. And then if you're implementing it in a fat loss phase, it's not going to get you so ravenously hungry that you actually end up undoing the nutrition side of things, which is what a lot of people do. They have kind of a mental accounting bias where they're like, oh, I worked out for an hour, therefore this extra blah, blah, blah won't hurt me. You know what I mean? I was good today on the treadmill, so I can be bad tonight with my wine or like whatever it is, right? Well, no, that's not how math works. You actually are undoing your calorie deficit when you do that, and therefore it's like if you were doing that cardio just for fat loss, you've now wasted that effort, right? And so I look at it as more for general health, general stamina, more energy throughout the day, that sort of thing. And dude, it could be as simple as 3 sessions a week, 30 minutes each.
Okay.
Like that'll get you nice and healthy, expand it over time. You know what I mean? But if your resting heart rate is 60 beats per minute, let's just say, you're in excellent health. Like excellent health. When
would you want to check that? First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. First thing in the morning, get up, walk around, take a pee, whatever. Sit on the couch for a couple minutes. Just take some steady breaths. And then I just like to do it manually. I look at my watch.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
set a timer for 30 seconds. I count however many beats happen in 30 seconds, multiply it by 2, that's your resting heart rate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could fit it in for aerobic health. What if you are someone who likes high intensity training? Like we get a lot of women that come into the program and that's just the way they've been training. Some of them like it because of the endorphin rush, or they think they have to maybe work harder to get the result. Is there a place for HIIT training if somebody does like the way that feels? And if so, where would you put it in your week?
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head. If you like it.
If you like it. I just did it because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Yeah. It was fat, but I do not like it.
If you think you have to do it, I just wouldn't. Like, cool. Like, now you know. Now, like, you know what I mean? Now that you know better, you don't have to do it anymore. If you like it and it's your preference, well, dude, preferences, go a long way towards dictating our quality of life. If you like to do something and you do more of it, you're going to have a better life.
Right.
And so at that point, it just becomes balancing out preferences with making sure it doesn't hurt you. Right? And the way that type of training could hurt you would be like physically hurting you because it's a lot of impact on your joints and whatnot. So like overuse injuries and that sort of thing. Or if you are in a fat loss phase and you're doing high intensity work, that's called anaerobic work, which means when your heart rate is, in zones 3, 4, for extended periods of time, you will get really, really hungry and it'll be really hard to stick to a fat loss diet.
And could you fill them in when you're doing HIIT training and you're in that anaerobic zone? Are you actually tapping into fat for that quick burst of energy, or are you using a different source?
Well, no, this is a whole other conversation, but no, you're not burning into fat. So we're burning fat right now. Okay, so fat gives you more energy, but it takes longer to process. It takes oxygen to be able to process it. So as long as I can speak conversationally here, that means I'm taking in enough oxygen to utilize fat. Now, as soon as my heart rate gets elevated and I can't breathe enough to get enough oxygen, then I switch to anaerobic mode, which is burning sugar.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, dude, because people abuse this for aerobic, too. It doesn't matter what you burn during your workouts. Fat loss comes down to total calories consumed versus total calories burned. That's it. So, yes, in an aerobic workout, like, for example, that zone 2 we talked about, we would be burning the majority fat that entire time. Great. If I'm still in a calorie surplus, I'm still going to gain fat. I could do HIIT training, 5 days a week and burn nothing but sugar during my workouts. But if I were by some miracle able to stick to a fat loss diet, I would still lose body fat over time. Body fat is stored energy, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's why I kind of just want to touch on it. It does just matter if you stay in that calorie reduction, right? But I hear this a lot, just through conversations with different women, and they're like, yeah, well, HIIT training is the best way to burn body fat. I'm like, well, actually, you're burning sugar, but you are still burning calories, but you just have to keep that calorie deficit. We don't want to eat them back from being hungry and putting that kind of stress on your body.
Right.
So we have women that come into the program, right? And they're like, well, I want to look athletic. We're like, great. We got to train to look athletic, and we have to eat to expose that athletic physique. And they're like, but I really love a little bit of high intensity work. And so we used to do this back in the gym days, but where do we typically put it in a workout? So if someone was designing their strength training, they're like, I still want to have that endorphin rush.
Yeah, I mean, just literally think of it as elementary as it is. Think about it like, eating your dinner first and having some some dessert afterwards, right? And so it's like, take care of the things that are most important in that workout. If it's a 60-minute workout, do 15 minutes of mobility and warming up and stretching. Do 35 minutes of strength training, and do a 10-minute high intensity interval thing at the end. You'll end on that note. Like, it tricks your brain. You think the whole time was a high-intensity workout because you're leaving on that high note. You're leaving with those endorphins. You're getting what you want, but you're also making sure you prioritize what you need. Yes, that's how we ran our workouts at the gym. That's how you get the best of both worlds. It's how you still get the high. It's how you still, the runner's high, the endorphins, still get in what you need to get in from a strength training perspective. And frankly, it's how you still, for a lot of people, just stay not bored.
Yeah.
Stay engaged.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I will say, when you get into strength training and you do start lifting with this intensity and see yourself hitting these benchmark strength goals you didn't think you could hit before, I'll never forget the first time I hit my chin up. That was probably a bigger high than any plyometric jumping exercise I've ever done, right? Pulling myself over that bar or lifting my body weight off of the bench press, I'm telling you, ladies, there's something about it that will give you that same high. But if you're not there yet and you still want to walk away from your workout and feel like, yes, I crushed it, put it at the end. A good 10 minutes of doing something like slam balls or different jumping exercises. We had the battling ropes or the sled pushing at the gym. So we'd always plan that at the very end, and people would just leave hyped up and ready to attack the day. And that's where we would put it. Okay. Last question. I think this will be good. Let's say, everybody thinks about different words in a different way, right? So when I think cardio, right, I might think about it in terms of aerobic health. But if somebody else, if I was like, what does cardio mean to you? They might be like, oh, well, that's what you do to burn fat. And then they might be like, but we just said, well, you don't actually have to do that to burn fat. So if you don't really enjoy it, what could you do in terms of just more aerobic health that isn't, that high intensity, heart pumping, sweating? If someone just wanted to move more, let's say, what would you recommend?
I mean, that zone 2 cardio is what I would do.
Just, even, people will ask me, what kind of cardio do you do? Because I think they think I'm out there doing spin classes, or I'm doing the HIIT training, or I'm doing elliptical. I'll just tell you, my cardio is just walking. Right? Yeah. And sometimes I get on an incline treadmill and I get to the zone 2 that you're talking about, but it just has to be moving more in a way that makes you feel better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and especially if you are trying to lose body fat right now, there's nothing better than increasing your activity level through walking, Because there's something that it does for you. It does increase your calorie burn, but it also allows you time to maybe connect with other, women. Like maybe you don't have time to go to dinner with people right now, but you're like, but I could catch a 30-minute walk. So you can kind of do two things at once, pop in a audiobook or a podcast and enjoy that act of cardio, but in a way that you can also do something else with it. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to walking, right? Like it de-stresses you, which goes a long way to keeping you full, right?
Right.
Like anxiety and stress is a reason a lot of people overeat to begin with. So being able to go on a walk and unwind, like you said, you can kill two birds with one stone. You can connect with somebody and increase relationships, which is another thing you can do to keep your stress levels low, which is connect with somebody. It does accumulate, an additional calorie burn. So just being active, obviously, like increases your calorie burn. We call that NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is like anything you do to burn calories when you're not exercising.
Yeah.
So living an active lifestyle is actually the best thing you can do for fat loss. But most of us aren't going to go be lumberjacks and cowboys. Like we do sit behind desks, and so therefore we either need to exercise or find some time in our day to go be intentional about walking. So that's how you can get some non-exercise activity in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you are looking to get a little bit leaner or more athletic for summer, I would say, just some action steps wrapping up here. I would first ask, what's the ultimate goal? And if that is the goal, to lose body fat or lose weight and look more toned, then you can figure out, okay, what is the method that you want to do that with? We prefer with our method in Lingzo Fitness Academy is paying attention to the amount that you're eating and manipulate that to get the result easier. And then we strength train to build muscle. We increase activity level through walking or that low intensity steady state cardio. But first, know what you want. What's your goal? And then ask yourself, how do I like to move, right? If you still like to do cardio, just put it in there strategically in a way that's going to help you get the result easier. And then if you're not sure what to do, just ask questions, right? Make a comment here. We're happy to answer it in future episodes. But the more you ask questions, the more curious you get with yourself, with your goals, and with what's really going to make it easy to get the result, the more enjoyable the process is. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got. Paul, thank you for joining me today. If anybody else wants to see Paul again, if you have more questions for him, drop them in the comments. But that's all I got. All right. Chat soon.